You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing, daily, hopefully. Hello, it is Friday the 9th of August. You're listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, and I haven't done an awful lot today. As you will have seen, I've been very, very active the last couple of weeks, really. I've got an awful lot done, and today I'm just tired. I've walked a lot. I've been very active the last couple of days, and I didn't plan to have a lazy day, but I have ended up having one. So you'll just have to forgive me for that. So the bits and pieces that I said I was going to do today, I'm going to put on hold and do tomorrow. I have got my roster for for the next couple of weeks, a couple of months now, actually. I've got my roster until roughly this time next month, actually. So I know what I'm doing 2 months in advance, which is quite unusual work-wise. And I've got... so we have these things called available days, which are days where when they built the roster, they didn't have anything specific in mind for you. But if somebody goes off sick, or it can be used, it can be changed into another trip. And we do have a thing called... crew swap, where you can actually see what flights aren't covered, and if they're on an aeroplane you're qualified to fly on, and if the number of days off you've got allocated afterwards match the requirements of that trip, you can swap onto it. So on the 16th I'm going to Chennai in India, which is quite nice. I think we've got 2 local nights there, almost 2 full days, and I've never been before, so that's quite nice. And then coming up in next month, I've basically got America and Europe, which is, so it's a good thing I've got my visa arrived in the post yesterday after I recorded the podcast, which was like, wow, because I only applied for it on Monday, went into the embassy on Monday, and it arrived at my house on Thursday, so that's pretty good going. So yes, I've got Boston twice, I've got Atlanta, and I've also got a Chicago, plus some European bits and pieces, and they run into my final. My final trip is a Boston, and then when that's done, I've got, I think, 16 days off, which is going to be nice. I'm going to go away somewhere. I've got a fairly good idea where, but yeah. So the other thing is, there's been work being done on the roof of my house in the last week. It's nearly done, which is great. I've actually been up on the scaffolding and had a look, and I've got new what's called fascias, because the old wooden ones were a bit rotten and crap. So I've got new fascias, and I've got new guttering, and mainly a new roof. So it wasn't cheap, but it needed doing. I've just been stressing about a few things unnecessarily over the last few days, so I'm pretty knackered today. So yeah, that was kind of the reason that I decided not to do very much, but never mind. The other thing I plan to do today, and I did consider holding off recording the podcast until later. Obviously, I have a passion, or I say obviously, I have mentioned a few times recently that I'm interested in the top 40, and particularly in knowing that British artists are doing quite well. And as such, every week, or for the last 2 weeks, and I'll continue to do it for now, I've compiled a top 40 of just the top-selling British artists in this country. And it's rather looking like we're actually going to have a British number one for the first time this year, unless you include Wham getting to number one with Last Christmas at the beginning of the year. So yes, we are. It looks like Charlie XCX is with a song called Guess. Will be at number one. Now, it's quite a rude song, I'm not going to lie. But for some reason, whilst it's very suggestive and sexual, I don't find it offensive because of the language used. It is quite rude and it is quite graphic, but it doesn't use the language that, I don't know if you've ever heard of a song by, is it Cardi B? Or I'm getting 2 artists mixed up, but there was a song called, I have to say it to make sense. It's called WAP, or Wet Ass Pussy. That was the name of a song that got to number one a couple of years ago. And if you've never heard of it, just Google Wet Ass Pussy lyrics. Just if you really want to be offended by horrible, horrible, disgusting lyrics. So the lyrics to Guess by Charlie XCX are quite sexual, but I don't know. I just because it doesn't use any foul language. It uses suggestive language, but not foul language. I actually quite like it, and I don't think it'll be the version that enters the charts this week. But she's done a version with Billie Eilish, which is even better. And I know the video's got Billie Eilish in it, so I'm wondering if next week a different version will end up in the charts, or maybe both. We'll see. So yeah, so I fully expect by the end of today for there to be a UK artist at number one of the top 40, and it's about bloody time. As I say, it's been a very long time, and it doesn't happen often enough. As usual, I will listen to the actual top 40 this week, and I will listen to the UK artists only top 40. I will put that on my blog once I've compiled it today or tomorrow. And yeah, so I'm genuinely excited. It's ridiculous, isn't it? I'm genuinely excited that a British artist is going to be a number one. It's just a shame it's not a song you can play a kid. I'll be fascinated to see if there is a radio edit of Guess, actually. Because there was one of WAP or WAP, and most of the lyrics were basically just missing. So I'll be fascinated to see what they do with this Charlie XCX track. Anyway, so no writing today. Try and do some tomorrow, although I'm visiting friends tomorrow for lunch, so we shall see. And then I'm halfway through my time off already, but that's absolutely fine, because on the end of the roster that I've just got that takes me to the end of September, I've got my 16 days off, and I'm going to go probably to Devon, because I've been to Cornwall recently. Well, I'm going to go to Devon for that week. So anyway, shut up Andrew. No, shut up Richard. I'm even forgetting my own pen name now. Shut up Richard. I'm not going to edit that out because I can't be bothered. And I'll be back hopefully tomorrow with something a little more to say. Take care. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.